Good morning. Happy Monday. Welcome to Screen Junkies Universe. We are so happy to have you guys with us today because it's Fan Appreciation Day, Joe Starr.
Every day's Fan Appreciation Day.
Yeah.
Roth.
Oh,
Every
Spencer
moment.
Gilbert.
Every waking moment.
Every making moment. Dan Murrell.
Yes, but just like every day's Christmas.
Yeah.
There's also a Christmas
an
day.
actual
This
Christmas.
is Fan Appreciation Day.
This is when we
Exactly.
actually.
Well said. Thank you, Dan. Thank you. There's an actual day, and that's today. We are going to do this show right now for you because we love you. But then after that, we're also going to have a live Q&A. We'll be working with a new technology, so I hope you'll be a little patient with us if it's a little bit buggy. But there's a link in the description where you can go and sign up and register. It's called a shindig.
It's a shindig,
It's a
baby.
shindig.
Yeah. We're going to have a shindig.
Have you ever heard of the Shins?
You
That'll
went from
change your
Austin
life.
Powers to Paul McCartney.
Like
very subtle.
They're not the same?
Yeah, they're not the same. So can you shindig it? I think is what Spencer is asking you, and you can. You can go and sign up, and we will be there. Oh God, live after the show to answer your questions. This is it. Dan's there to tell you all of the things about all of the things about all of the things.
I'll do my best.
You'll do that in however long it takes us to get through this show. But before that, we are going to talk about Tim Miller spilling the tea a little bit on what it's like to work on a big franchise
Small
film.
tea spill.
A little bit of tea. So he was talking about Terminator Dark Fate, which of course did not do well.
Sneeze break. And it's gone.
Oh, damn it. That was
You
like
called it out.
Yeah.
You called it
that
out.
was like anticlimactic for me. It has nothing to do. So this is what he talked about, and then obviously he also left the Deadpool franchise as well. And basically, who's to blame? Well, respectively, James Cameron and Ryan Reynolds. So he talked about this has nothing to do with whatever trauma I have from the experience, which is the line that I bolded because I think it's really amazing. It's essentially saying this was a hellscape, but that's not why I'm done with it. So let's go through this bit by bit. Joe Starr, tell us what he said about Dark Fate.
So he said, I'm sure we could write a book on why it didn't work, which I'd read. I think that would actually...
I would too.
Yes.
I would absolutely watch like a Live from
Yeah.
New York style, like here's all the bits and pieces on Dark Fate. I'm still not sure, and I'm still processing, but I'm very proud of the movie. The things people seem to hate most about the movie were things he can't control. Like he can't control that you didn't like Terminator Genesis.
I'm back, baby.
I was waiting. I was just on cruise control until
Me
then.
too.
I was like, yeah.
I was kind of
I
like...
feel so much better. All right.
Yeah,
carry
nothing
on.
matters until Spencer gets the ring to Mordor.
Yeah.
And it's there. He's casted into the Lake of Fire. So, he was like, I can't control that you didn't like Genesis or that Terminator 4, you felt betrayed by it. Like, he can't help
Well,
those
I
things. Like,
did.
he can't
Yeah,
help. Yeah,
we
he
didn't,
can't. And that's
we
not
did.
Tim Miller's fault.
Isn't it?
No.
Yeah, no. Robin Williams backed him into a corner in an office and told him repeatedly that it was not his fault. And I agree. Yeah.
In any event, it's interesting because I would say that those probably the failures we've talked.
Unsuccessful. Right?
We're just going to call it out. Ryan's fixing a camera, and he walked right by you, and we know it. I think we all
Say hi to
know
the
it.
people at home,
Say
Ryan.
hi, Ryan. Wave. There you go. Wave with your plaid. Ryan is also cosplaying as Dan. Yes, you are. Get out. Come here.
Get out here on
Get out
camera.
here.
Now it's time.
Get out here.
It's time.
Right now.
Make yourself known.
Right now. Yeah. There you go.
I don't.
Show him the hat. Show him the hat.
I used to
Yeah.
hat like this. Those are pretty.
Yeah.
It is very
Get out of here.
I used to do the butterfly. I don't anymore. Yeah.
First of all, that just like there's a level of hero worshiping going on there that I find amazing. Yes, there is. Okay, Dan Murrell.
Do you have other words for different shirt styles, like the butterfly, the praying mantis?
This is the working man.
The stag beetle.
Yeah, exactly.
Dan, we've talked about this before, that the success of a franchise film is often predicted by the two that came before it. If they've been failures,
Yeah,
then
pretty
likely people are sort of done and they don't trust you anymore. So he's right when he says that that's not his fault.
Bumblebee effect.
The Bumblebee effect, if you will. I don't necessarily think that's the only issue with Dark Fate.
No, I enjoyed the movie. I didn't love it. I liked it. But I think it, more than many things, like in a vacuum, if we could rewind the clock and no movie since Terminator 3 has come out, I think that maybe it would have made
A lot of money.
a lot more money, at least on opening weekend. I'm not saying people would have liked it better, but I think it would have made more money. We're 4 years removed from the last Terminator movie, which was another reboot with James Cameron involved, saying how good it was, and was not well regarded by a lot of people. So,
And the second or third one too, where they were like, "This doesn't count." or the others don't count.
Right.
Like they've done that a few times.
This
now,
is the third
yeah.
time. Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, like 4 was like kind of it's a sequel, and then 1 was like, okay, never mind, and then this one was also like, never mind. So yeah, I don't think people would have necessarily liked the movie better if the others hadn't existed. But I see what he's saying as far as the fact, like, I can't control the quality of the previous movies, and it seems like that might have played into it. I get it. I think it holds water.
I mean,
Is it?
I've been burnt too many times.
Yeah.
The last 3 Terminator movies have sucked.
Yes.
Sorry.
No, why is I agree.
I don't know. Sorry to the respect of people, because every movie's hard to make and everyone puts a lot of
That's
effort
true.
into it. And yet, Terminator 3 and the
Genesis,
Christian Bale
Salvation.
and Genesis have
Yeah.
all been like, okay, so maybe there's no creative juice left in this franchise. I'll wait and see.
Yeah. Well, I also think that James Cameron didn't do us any favors or himself any favors by coming out and advocating for movies he must have known weren't good. Like, he knew Genesis was not good, and he talked it up so much that I believed it.
Right.
I really did. And I was fooled.
Yep.
He also talked a little bit about Deadpool and Ryan Reynolds. Spencer Gilbert, there's a quote. You can read it.
I can read that. Which quote?
Where is it?
It's the circle. It's the
Okay,
circle
there we
under
go.
the box.
On opting not to return to Deadpool 2 after having creative differences with star Ryan Reynolds, Tim Miller said, it became clear that Ryan wanted to be in control of the franchise. You can work that way as a director quite successfully, but I can't.
Oh, that's good.
Well read.
Yeah,
thank you.
well
Thank you. It's
done.
a cold read.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because
Some redirects.
right that felt to me like it was more him driving that from the beginning, though. Ryan Reynolds. Yeah.
Well,
Sure.
yeah. I mean, he'd been forever
Yeah.
attached to it, so I get it.
Yeah.
And it's so much his personality.
I can't. Did
yeah.
Miller do the test? The leaked test
I don't know
screening?
who did the. I don't think if anyone knows who did the test. I don't know if he did or not.
I don't,
Not leaked it, but who made it? I can't remember if Miller made it or not.
I don't know.
Ryan Murrell, can you please do a little fact checking on that? I don't know. That's an interesting
can't
question.
remember.
The thing that strikes me about this is we've talked about this before, and it's to your point, making things is just hard.
Sure.
And I'm going to use this as a Kicktar documentary because shameless. One of the things that Greg Berlanti talks about in it is like that tension, that creative tension that happens when people are arguing over things or debating things in the creative process. That it's very, very painful, but often it yields good results. And we've talked about this too with filmmakers for the most part. When you have older filmmakers that are very, very established and don't have anyone saying no anymore, pushing back, they don't do their best work that way because, in my mind, when you're fighting for something, you only have so much energy. So it really distills what's worth it. Like, you only fight for the things that are actually important because anything else is just not worth the pain of it. So, but in some instances, I think if things are philosophically so disparate, you just can't come to a good result, which is sounds like happened here, Dan.
Well, yeah, the article that he talks about with James Cameron, who, by the way, he says he's still on good terms with. That, James Cameron was like, hey, next time I'm in LA, let's go grab a drink. So it's not necessarily that they just hated each other, but from what he was saying, like, they almost just ideologically had a difference in how they wanted to approach the film. Like James
line
Cameron,
by line almost.
Oh yeah, James Cameron was like, well, in this future, I want to keep this thing of like the future the humans are winning, because that's always been the thing with Skynet, is like it's always based on the humans won and then the machines. And with Tim Miller, he's like, well, no, I want to talk about a future where it's not going well. And so that's a pretty big different thing. And so, they have a disagreement on that. And then he talks about there were certain lines that Tim Miller said, I really like this line. And Cameron was like, I think you should cut it out. Or vice versa. Tim Miller cut out lines and Cameron's like, I think you should keep that in. I think that's a very important line. And so I think really what it comes down to is he talks about the fact that, like, it's James Cameron, was the helmer of this franchise and from directorially from the beginning. David Ellison at Skydance had a lot tied up in this movie. They needed it to be a hit. Skydance has not been doing well, and he says basically that, hey, I'm the director. I get it. Jim Cameron's producing it. David Ellison's producing it. They ultimately have the final say, but at the same time, my name's on the thing.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna fight for what I want, and I agree with this mentality of him saying, like, listen, I get it. Like, there are arrangements that work where a director is not the top dog, and you have to defer to people, but I understand that he's like, my name is on the movie, and so I want to put myself in a situation where I have more control over the final product. That seems reasonable to me.
Oh, go ahead.
But in a big studio situation, like for example, like a Marvel or Star Wars movie, you're not necessarily in that position all the time as a director. So.
And you have to know that going in.
Yeah.
It used to be a little bit with, I mean, I'm sure in the days of studio films, a lot of times they were shooters, right? Like I've talked about Gone with the Wind a lot. That was David O. Selznick's film. He was the producer. He had 3 different directors on it over the course of the movie. It was his vision, and he hired shooters. Then we got into this era in the 70s, really, where it was like the auteur era, where it was like the director really owned the process. And that became, I think, the default. People believe that's how it's meant to be, and that's how it always is. But when you look at franchises like the MCU, it's really more like being hired to direct a very expensive, very big episode of television where there is a larger vision at play, and you're coming in to do your piece of that. And Feige is like a showrunner where he's the driving creative force, not you, the director. Thoughts?
It's weird. We're slowly turning back into the 40s, like with
It is
with
interesting
them
with the
talking about
studio
revoking
system.
now the Paramount,
I know.
all the Paramount decrees and stuff from
It's
and now
fascinating.
the studios consolidating and
Yeah.
like now owning like different. It's like we're
And they
it's like
own
we're-
the whole model.
Yeah, it's like we're turning the clock back 70
Yeah.
years and we're going back to the way things used to be, which, by the way, not the best system.
Not the best
So-
system for human beings. If
Right.
you've seen Judy,
Yeah.
damn. Like, oh my
So
God.
It's just weird how every history, literally, it's cliche, but history literally repeats itself. Everything is cyclical.
Yeah, well, hopefully we won't return to the days of giving amphetamines to children. Again, see Judy for more.
Can you not judge what I do with my kids?
They did a little boost,
it's my
a little
right.
energy boost.
Oh,
Yeah.
good God.
You know,
I
sneak
guess
them a little
technically,
speed.
if you think about certain drugs that we get, okay, moving on. I'm talking about
Finish that thought,
Nope. Well, if you nope, not going to. Just don't bait me. Instead, I'll throw this to you. I always worry a little bit, Spencer,
Yeah.
about a actor who's the star of something also being the creative force behind it, because they're not necessarily objective. Like the actor has their role to play,
Sure.
but you need somebody that can step back and look at the whole.
Yeah, I mean, the frustrating answer to all this stuff is it depends, because I think that's usually a terrible idea when the actor is has hijacked the character, so to speak, from the writer and the director, and is just demanding that they do more to maybe serve themselves rather than the film as a whole. But like Ryan Reynolds and Deadpool seem to be like a hair's breadth away from each other.
Yeah.
So it's like you have to take it on a case-by-case basis and be like, well, I guess Ryan Reynolds really has a good lock on this, and he's, believe me, you can't do that movie with anybody else right now, so it should be him making the final decision on what stays and what goes. That's not the case with a Superman movie or a Batman movie or any other number of characters who aren't where there's more distance between the actor and the part and the filmmaker. And that's just, you gotta look at each one as its own little baby. Like you're talking about the MCU, we were talking about it earlier. It's like, yeah, the MCU is kind of a creation by committee and they're so homogenous, but then you put Taika Waititi on Thor and you get one of his movies, and it does manage to kind of break out of that mold. And you get Star Wars movies like The Last Jedi, which, love it or hate it, like that is a Rian Johnson movie. So there's still wiggle room.
Table
and
fully split here.
Do we have a bell for The Last Jedi?
Sorry. I'm just saying that sometimes directors have power and it's good. Sometimes directors don't have power and it's good. Like, you got to look at each movie as its own thing.
You don't have a split table. You have a quartered table. I'll tell you why. Because I'm split on the movie.
We baited her.
Which one?
Go ahead.
Talking about Last Jedi now.
The one that
did it.
goes in between The Force Awakens and
Oh,
Rise of
okay.
Skywalker. That
Sure.
one. Oh.
Yeah.
Star Wars Resistance.
I
series.
think we
Disney
talked
Plus.
about it for an hour in our review, which anyone is welcome to go watch. But essentially, I am the split lightsaber. I think it's a great Rian Johnson movie. I don't think it's a great Star Wars
I'll break
movie.
you out of this, skid.
Don't do
or
it.
Look at the
I want to go into
Look
this,
at Warner
kid.
Bros, who gives their filmmakers like carte blanche to do whatever movie they have in their heads, and they trust them with it,
Yeah.
for better and worse.
Otherwise known as Warner Bro.
The character.
If you see the police, Warner Brother.
The actor character thing reminds me of Dexter. You sort of saw the evolution, and I don't know any like behind the scenes dirt on Dexter, but you saw the evolution as he was a producer, then he was an executive producer, and then the show just starts. And it just seems to me like maybe he was just so in love with the character of Dexter, it started to get to the point where it's like, I don't want to take chances with me. I mean Dexter. I mean me. You know, like I don't want. I mean, he's just gonna go to the woods. You know, like
Grow a beard.
Yeah, grow a beard, and you can sort of see those evolutions of like sort of gaining more and more power, like on your set, and starting to make more decisions, and starting to show up at more meetings, and starting to be in charge of more casting, and it can be good. Maybe in the case of a Ryan Reynolds, or in the case of like a what's his face, Garden State guy. Those movies aren't
Zach
great,
Braff?
but Zach Braff.
Zach Braff.
Not my cup of tea, but in front of the camera, behind the camera, he knows exactly what a Garden State needs to be and look like and feel like. And by God, they accomplished it.
Notable
yes.
box office hit franchise, the Garden
the
State.
Kickstarter
But
one?
We just did the 50 states.
Yeah, like
Natural
like
States.
yeah.
That guy owes us 47 albums.
Yeah, what the hell?
Or maybe 48. Yeah.
Dan Murrell, final word.
There's a tendency to paint everything with a broad brush. Every director's different, every project's different. If you're a studio, you should know that you work with Quentin Tarantino differently than you work with someone who's making their first film. And a Quentin Tarantino movie is different from the third film in a superhero franchise. And I hope that this idea that as we get to fewer and fewer studios, like, I hope that you have people in positions of power that understand that and know that one-size-fits-all filmmaking makes bad movies generally because they're one-size-fits-all, and that's not what movies are. Not everyone should like every movie. If you're trying to make a movie that everyone likes, it's probably not going to be a very good movie.
Unfortunately, I think they're going to keep getting more and more precious on IPs because that's what
But they just took the biggest risk in the world with a Batman IP and Joker, and guess what? They just made the most profitable superhero movie of all time, one of the most profitable movies of all time, and not to mention, by the way, pretty damn good movie. So,
oh sure, but the Dark Universe isn't going to learn that lesson.
No, the but they may, because they went the one size fits all route with the Mummy, and it didn't work, and now you have like the Invisible Man looks like it's not Claude Rains with the bandages and stuff. It looks like a psychosexual like thriller about gaslighting, and like that's not a mainstream horror movie. But but maybe Universal did learn their lesson, and with these Dark Universe films, they're actually going to try to tell a good updated or modern or whatever story about these films instead of like, oh, let's go build the village set and do Bride of Frankenstein with the pitchforks, like they literally stopped doing. So maybe somebody somewhere did learn a lesson.
Hopefully that
I
doesn't
think
go back to the 40s.
someone very, very creative could find a way to make the village set work, though.
In a flashback or something.
Or in some way. But in any event, it's interesting. We should probably talk about this another day and actually dive into what the studio system used to be, and then there's some things that they can't revert back to because we have like SAG and unions, but what the studio system used to be and how we're kind of approaching it again, and it is very odd and a little alarming to some, well, not to be alarmist, but I'm afraid, I guess, and you should be too, is what I'm trying to say with that. But we should dive into that a little bit more. I've been thinking about the Starr system too, and why that reverted to characters and IP over stars, and I have some theories later. We want to thank you for supporting us here on SJU and Fandom Entertainment and Screen Junkies for all of these years, and that's why it's Fan Appreciation Day. Thank you for sticking with us. Thank you for having fun with us. Thank you for being the best fans in the world, and thank you guys so much for supporting our event that's happening tomorrow night at 7 p.m. We have a Fandom event. This is our first feature film that we've produced, the documentary feature about Galaxy Quest. We're very, very excited for the event, so we really want to thank you for supporting this and getting the word out, buying your tickets, shooting us the emails and Twitters of your pictures with the tickets. God, no, not manifesting that. Birthday call, that was the most LA thing I've said today. I want to do a birthday call out to Coran, who wrote us last week, and I'm not sure if we did one, but I tweeted with her this weekend, and happy birthday to you, belatedly.
I want to do a birthday call out to Joe Starr.
Yeah.
Oh shoot, Joe Starr!
Boys all grown up.
Yay! Yesterday.
Spencer got me a birthday donut.
I got a birthday donut. Yeah.
Oh, we'll do cookies. We always do cookies. And you're wearing a birthday cupcake on your shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Happy birthday, Joe Starr.
Thank you very much.
We are so happy to have you in our little Screen Junkies universe.
Thank you. I'm glad.
Yes, you're the best. You're the one that represents.
Thank you.
Quippiness and hair. We need that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We do.
I like to play.
I'm also doing a quick call out to Jenny B, who said she's going to see our movie and would like us to call out Grace. So she watches every day after school. My God, I hope you don't watch on the days that I'm on.
Hey, Grace.
Thank you for watching. That always makes me feel like, oh, I really better watch it. Like Grace is watching. Hi, Grace.
It's grad school, Roth.
Is it grad school?
I don't know.
Okay. I'll feel better if it is. But hi, Grace, and hi, Jenny. Thank you so much. Again, we are going to be right after this show live doing a video Q&A with you guys. You can go and register right now. There's a link in the bio, and/or Ryan is going to be assisting you in the chat for how to register for that. So go ahead and sign up. We will be there in just a few minutes. Ryan, did you fact check us and find out about the Deadpool teaser?
I did not.
You did. He did not do the job, and that is.
You're no Dan Murrell.
That was just a straight up nope. Did not do that. That did not do that work.
Busy.
But he's busy. He's doing other stuff. He's getting this ready for us for after now, which is later in 5 minutes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's English.
Yeah,
You're
sure.
the writer.
Sure. It's
Yeah.
a shindig, baby.
It's a
It's a wild shindig.
And then we're gonna start with this question on the shindig from Aaron pooping right now.
No.
I'm sorry, is Aaron pooping right now? And the
Is that a website?
It's at pooping Aaron, so I think you're answering your own question.
Get that checked out, Aaron.
I assume Aaron is pooping right now. So Aaron really just wants to talk about the things, the favorite things about each other. So we'll start our shindig by talking about
All right.
that. So start making some stuff up now. We're all creative people.
Yep.
Yeah.
In the interim, it's Thanksgiving, Dan,
Yeah.
this week,
Coming up.
Thursday, right here in the States.
Yep.
It's a day of food,
A lot of food.
rest
Football.
Yeah.
for some.
American football.
Yeah, sure, people do that.
People do that. Movies. A lot of
Movies.
people go to the movies.
Yeah, that's what I'll be doing.
Pumpkin pie.
Pumpkin pie is my favorite. So it's a day of that and thanks. And it's also for many a day of fighting with your family. So in honor of that, Ryan Johnson of the Middle movie has delivered a perfect Thanksgiving film called Knives Out. And Eric Goldman went to the junket to speak with the people in this film, including Jamie Lee Curtis and Daniel Craig and more, to talk about making a Thanksgiving movie for the ages that is inevitably about familial murder. Make sure to join us on this shindig. Link, and then you click, and then you do the thing, and then we'll pop up, and it'll be really fun.
All right.
Thank you so much for joining us as always. Thank you for supporting our event. Watch this Knives Out interview. It's very, very fun. And I hope to see you tomorrow night, 7 p.m., because I will personally be attending every single screening in the nation.
Like Santa Claus.
Like Santa Claus. I'm not allowed to tell you how it gets done. Tomorrow night, 7 p.m., never surrender. Never go up. Never surrender. Oh, well.
I suspect foul play.
So, you know, of course, you're dealing with a classic whodunit scenario here, but then you've got Ryan putting his twist on it. So your first conversations with him, what did he talk about as far as what he was looking for tonally?
The only question I had was tone. I said, just tell me, where are you on the tonal scale?
Right.
Because then I will either say to you, you're going to play pure farce. I don't think I'm your girl. Like, it's just not something I would do well. And he said, no, I'm playing this, I'm like straight real with an adjustment. Like, it's a heightened reality, but it's reality.
Right,
Because in order for the humor to come off the page the way it was written, you have to tell the truth. You can't be winking your way through the script. You have to actually believe what you're saying.
I think it was a lot of pushing me out of my comfort zone, and he really helped me do that and made me feel comfortable, because a lot of things I have to say in this movie are not something that I agree with, obviously. And so he helped me be outgoing, and I'm not used to that. You get into the rhythm of playing the same character over and over again, or you take parts of yourself and put it into your character, and I'm often quiet or shy. But in this, I had to be a pretty outspoken, bad human, and so it was a lot of fun pushing my boundaries.
We've got a bunch of actors in here with a great script. Everybody just hit it. They hit it in the same direction. And that tone And that's down to Ryan. It's also down to these great actors. And James is absolutely right. It's useless if it's a camp idea and winking. This is funny. It's just there were laughs. There were big laughs sometimes after takes, and there were laughs from Ryan after takes. But we were all playing it straight.
Right.
You have to.
And when good people get desperate, the knives come out.
So, you know, you're doing sort of a classic style murder mystery here. Of course, there's certain things that the audience will expect, and I'm sure you want to do, certain beats, you know, that are traditional, but how do you mix that? How do you balance that with wanting to do your own spin on it and kind of deciding how much is too much familiar versus what you want to put into it?
Well, I mean, the whole thing starts with what I love about what's traditional about it. So, I grew up reading Agatha Christie's books, and I love a good whodunit. And so everything is in the service of trying to get to the heart of what I love about the genre. And then the idea of, I guess the big thing with it is setting it in America in 2019. That seemed like something where, okay, if we can take this form where if we see it today, we usually see it as a period piece,
right,
and really try and plug it into 2019, that seems like that could be really interesting. But the main goal for me is really to get at the heart of what I love about a genre. I'm never thinking like, how do I zag away from it? How do I do that? I'm always thinking, what are choices I can make to kind of engage the audience with the heart of whatever I love about this thing.
Who was the funniest / goofiest person on set?
No, it's not me.
No.
I'm not funny nor goofy.
Neither am I.
Michael Shannon.
Michael Shannon.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Hands down.
Yeah, hands down.
Was he throwing curveballs at you?
He is a curveball.
Yeah.
Michael Shannon.
Yeah.
Never would have guessed. Never would have guessed, but he's hilarious. And he would there wasn't a ton of improv in the movie, but when everyone was fighting with each other, I would just kind of let the cameras roll and I let them shout like improv stuff at each other. And Michael would always come up with stuff that would just floor everybody. Yeah, he's a stealth comedy genius, Michael Shannon.
What do your characters make of Detective Blank? Can you say, what is your reaction to this guy?
Yeah, I think for Meg, there's definitely confusion and intrigue. But very much he feels like a character that will undersell himself, or that doesn't come across as particularly capable just because of his ease and his comfortability with people. But I think towards the end, it kind of takes them all by surprise. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What was it like shooting with an all-star cast like this one?
It makes my job so easy.
Right.
And I love that they say all-star cast. That was one of the things I was going for with this is, I remember going to the movies with my family to see Death on the Nile or Evil Under the Sun when I was a kid. And those old school whodunits, they were big all-star casts. Everyone who popped on that screen, you were like, oh, I like that person.
I think you have something you want to tell me.